I'm Assaf Rokney. I'm head of the National Reference Laboratories for Bacteria at the Public Health Laboratories in Jerusalem, Israel, at the Ministry of Health. I will talk today about increased incidence and serotype dynamics of invasive pneumococcal disease in Israel in the years 2024 and 2025. This work was performed at the National Reference Laboratory for Streptococcus, and in this reference center we receive isolates from all across Israel, invasive pneumococcal disease isolates from blood and CSF, and we follow trends and perform serotype analysis for these isolates. So here you can see 9 years of surveillance of IPD in Israel, and at the reference center there were received 5,051 strep pneumonia isolates during the years 2017 until June 2025. At the reference center, serotyping was performed using PCR and Quelling reaction, and we also perform whole genome sequence for selected isolate, as well as antimicrobial resistant testing by broth microdilution. So you can see monthly distribution of cases over 9 years in Israel in this first figure. And as you can see in 2025, at the first quarter of the year, cases have reached a peak of 9 years, monthly peaks. And this was a change compared to previous years. And the following quarter, the second quarter of 2025, we do see things stabilizing and cases return back to normal. So, of course, we follow serotype dynamics very closely and perform serotyping for all of the isolates. So in the second figure, we can see the yearly distribution of serotypes of IPD in Israel. And we can see that in 2020, with the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a sharp decrease in cases. And later, we see a gradual increase in cases that continued until 2024, and levels actually exceeded pre-COVID-19 rates. And this trend continues in 2025 as well. In terms of vaccine coverage, so the vaccine currently used in Israel since the beginning of 2025 is PCV20. And the serotype coverage remains quite stable at 58% over all of these years. However, PCV13 coverage, which was discontinued, and it began in 2010 and was replaced during 2025 by PCV20, there was an increase in PCV13 serotypes from 19% in 2017 to 27% at 2025. So we looked more closely at the serotype dynamics that caused this increase in cases that we see in 2024 and 2025. And you can see here in this figure the leading serotypes in Israel over those years. And we can see that serotype 2, which is not included in PCV20, has become the predominant serotype in Israel. It caused during 2025 42 cases, which were 14% of all IPD cases, and it was the leading serotype. We also saw emerging of serotypes 1, 14, and 9N, and those were the serotypes which were responsible for the total increase in IPD that we observe in Israel. So we also followed, in addition to the serotype dynamics, the demographics of the patients. We saw that the leading serotypes that emerged and caused the increase in cases were quite widespread across Israel. We can see them all over the country. And we also looked at age distribution of the cases. And serotype 2 in the yellow was observed in all age groups. Serotype 1 as well was observed in all age groups. But serotype 14 was mainly associated with elderly population, the eldest age groups. So we performed a whole genome sequence analysis for the emerging serotypes in order to understand the serotype dynamics more closely. And we specifically sequenced serotype 2 over 20 years and analyzed the sequence by SNP analysis. And we saw that while serotype 2 was very rare in Israel over the years, it did emerge in 2015 and caused an outbreak then. but this was caused by a different ST, a new ST that only emerged in 2015, and since then we see this ST in Israel, ST13578, which is unique to Israel. In previous years, before 2015, we saw another ST, ST1504, which was reported globally as well. So our outbreak and our increase in cases during 2024 and 2025 is largely associated with serotype 2, but a specific ST which is unique to Israel. We also analyzed other serotypes. Serotype 1 is caused by ST306 in Israel during this time. And we performed also antimicrobial resistance testing for the strains. Serotype 2 was largely susceptible to all antibiotics tested. Serotype 14, however, was multi-drug resistant. It was resistant to mainly beta-lactams, macrolides, and SXT. So, in conclusion, we observe in the first quarter of 2025 an increase in IPD incidence in Israel. This is mainly caused by specific serotypes, mainly serotype 2, which has become the most predominant serotype in Israel in 2025. It caused 42 cases, which account for 14% of total IPD in Israel. It's quite a rare serotype globally, so this is quite a unique trend. And also, a genomic analysis indicated that this is a unique clone, unique to Israel, ST13578. This clone was antibiotic susceptible and was associated with Orthodox Jewish populations. Serotypes 14, 9N, and serotype 1 were also increasing during 2025, and they were also part of this IPD total increase. However, PCV20 serotypes in general did not increase and remain stable at around 60%. In general, national IPD surveillance, of course, is very important in order to observe all of these trends, and specifically the genomic analysis is very useful to understand the situation in Israel compared with other countries. I would like to thank the National Reference Center for Streptococcus and the organizer for the invitation, and thank you for listening.